MTN SME Hub. Link to growth. Link to success. Link to the ultimate resource for business advice and insights.
Welcome back to the Big Small Business Show, and we continue our conversation with Heidi Brauer. We're talking marketing. We're talking marketing for small business, for medium business, for all business, I suppose, but particularly for us. And Heidi, you said something in the last segment which piqued my interest, which was you said earned and owned media. Okay, so our context very often in this audience, because I know my audience, you see, my context is that, well, our context is that we don't have these big budgets. So how do we get more from less?
Right. So I think the first thing is being absolutely clear on your positioning. So from episode 1, when I said if Taylor Swift was in the lift, in the lift, being very clear on that so that you repeat that. And you don't have to reinvent stuff all the time. You've got a brand manual, even if it's on a page, and you repeat that stuff all the time. If you're sick of it, you're doing a good job. So that's the first thing, having a recipe and sticking to the recipe. The second is knowing the difference between paid, owned, and earned media. So paid is the stuff literally that you pay for, a billboard or a TV ad or a radio ad. Good. Usually that's big reach, but it comes with a cost. But there are two channels that you don't need to pay. One is owned, a website, or your social media accounts, whether that's LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook or TikTok more and more these days even. And the third one is earned media, where you get people to speak about you, to amplify you. And you will only do that if the first part of your recipe is clear and you are distinctive and you're standing out and people want to know more about your story. And that could be Jeremy Maggs or Stephen Curtis's producers coming to you and saying, gosh, we've seen what you've published on LinkedIn. That sounds fantastic. We'd love to cover you on our show. Or people just sharing your content. At Kalula, I used to get emails from all over the world where it looked like a script that we had released of an onboard announcement. It didn't come from us, but it was so loved and so it was earned media in the truest sense of the word. So one, know your recipe.
So that's PR effectively.
It's PR.
But not paid for PR.
Not paid for PR. So it's you earn it by being clear on your positioning, clear on your brand tone, style, all of that, having a good recipe and having something distinctive. And then people will talk about you. Now, that's not to say that you mustn't spend money on paid. You need to. But there are ways of balancing that three-legged part, paid, owned, and earned, so that you can do more with less. And I know that because I've done it. And yes, I've had comparatively big budgets. But when you're spending less than 1% of the total spend in a category and you have the second highest brand awareness, I know what the recipe is.
What is a category?
That was insurance. What's a category? A category is the sandpit that you're playing in, I guess. And remembering from episode 1, content in context. You don't live in a vacuum. And as much as you think you're special and unique, there are others doing similar things to you.
So is Kalula in the what category is Kalula in?
It was air travel.
Air travel, not travel.
Well, at one point there was an attempt to extend beyond, even into financial services. Travel was still a logical extension, and it did exist. But then banking and malls and whatever. So one has to you have to establish a brand first before you can extend it too far. And that's what a category is.
I.e. Virgin Active, Virgin Bank, Virgin Airlines, etc. Okay, so now we're talking about there's a divide between the owners especially, and I'm going to knock the financial people. If they're a CA in the marketing, the CA is like why are we spending all this money, right? So there's this big divide. They don't get each other. How do we get them to
I'll tell you first that some of my favorite marketers are CAs and actuaries. because we like to say that everything's binary. You're either a financial person or a creative person. It's not true. We can all learn new skills and shuffle on a continuum, but we need to be aware of what we don't know. We want to know what we don't know. So here's a suitcase. Mm-hmm. People walk into meetings with a suitcase full of jargon and terminology. Mm-hmm. And we think jargon is the thing that will help unite us, but actually it divides us. And I think a lot of the time, the people doing the marketing, whether they're inside your business or you've hired them from outside, and the business owner, usually a CA, mm-hmm. often a CA, really talk right past each other. And actually what happens is that instead of things being inclusive, they're exclusive. They never the twain shall meet. They don't understand each other. And if we can just learn to speak one another's language, the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, you will find it. And we just have to take the time to understand. The CA needs to explain to the marketing person what the business objectives are. And the marketing person needs to be not afraid to ask the question themselves. So I bet you, the business owners, go and talk to your marketers and see if they know what your revenue targets are, what your margins are.
So I was just thinking while you're speaking about all your cards there. So when you go to the finance person and you go, add money here, and then lots more money here. Definitely
that funnel. You have to fill. You have to know that you got to fill. You got to invest to return. I mean, that's a financial principle.
Yes.
And in fact, I did some desk research myself years ago that terrifies the heck out of financial people, and I just saw some now empirical evidence that underscores what it is. You should spend between 12 and 20% of your income on marketing in a new business and around 7% in an existing business. Now, I've never had that much money. I know how to do more with less. And we've talked about that and we'll talk more about it. But you have to invest. You can't not.
We're going to have to invest in a break right now. When we come back, we are going to be in our final segment for this week because we've still got next week with Heidi Brauer. Stay tuned.
MTN SME Hub, link to business success.